Hey, I'm Saving Content's own Ed Acosta, and welcome to dotEXE, a saving content podcast. It's episode 4, and I'll be your host for this latest podcasting adventure. Along for the ride is my co-host and sibling who brings the bling bling, Eric Acosta.
Yeah, I bring the ching-a-ling.
Another week has rolled on by. So, Eric, how have you been in this past week?
I've been pretty good, playing games, eating, doing the normal thing, living life.
Living life like eating.
Yeah, what else is there? Eat, sleep, poop, eat, sleep, that kind of thing.
Right, all the essentials.
Right. I mean, what else is better than living like a baby, right?
Living like a grown-up baby?
Well, yeah. A grown-up baby, I can eat what I want. And if you just live like a baby, eat, sleep, and poop, you're good. What else is there? Oh, right, video games.
Video games are there. So, are there any new video games you've been playing?
Yes, actually. So, I have been playing, very briefly, State of Decay 2. Juggernaut Edition, I think is what it was.
The one that is for free on Game Pass.
That is correct. Free on Game Pass. I played probably about an hour, 2 hours of it, so just to kind of get into it. Because I do remember playing State of Decay, the first one, and I wasn't like fond of it. I'm not a big zombie, as you know. I'm not a big zombie guy. Don't really like those kind of games. But I'm trying to find something that me, the son, and you and some other people can try playing together. So more than just like 2 or 3 people.
Right.
Yeah, just kind of get into it, and it's okay.
Well, yeah. Let's say, what are your thoughts on it so far? Like, have you made it far enough to have any thoughts?
I've made it far enough to have just like the basic thoughts of like, okay, I can get into it as long as I'm with other people. This is definitely not a game I am going to play by myself. Ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
How so?
It's there's too much, too many things to focus on at one time. I'm not a big fan of like the micromanaging stuff. So like having to, search for stuff to bring back to the camp is one thing, but then to have to find certain things to bring back to the medical supply area because you have someone sick or injured, and then also bringing back, armory stuff like bullets and stuff like that on top of, doing missions outside of that to get, I guess, is money. I haven't gotten that far to like whatever the currency is in it.
Okay.
So realistically, I think I've made, like I said, I think I've only done maybe about an hour and a half of it. Because anyone who's played it, I'm at the point where I have to go out to find the medical stuff for the person, your second person you play with. So it gets very, very early in the game. And yes, it took me about an hour because I have kids.
So have you played far enough to figure out what the gameplay loop is like? Like, so if someone who's never played this game or the first one, how would you explain it to them?
I don't think I'm far enough into it to get what the intended gameplay loop is. I'm far enough into it, I think, that I can get an assumption of what it's going to be. Just because it's kind of like 7 Days to Die esque in that, you're going out during the day to forage for stuff. Night's a little choppier, but there is a story to this. So there is like story missions on top of foraging and gathering stuff and searching homes. But I don't think I'm far enough into it to definitively make what the loop is for this specific game is, not just the general genre.
Okay, well, yeah, and that's not necessarily the genre, but this particular game, trying to figure out what exactly you do in State of Decay 2.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember, I presume it is similar to the first game when I played that. I think I played it with you, actually. Um, but yeah, it's that going out, scavenging for stuff, uh, making sure people at your base are still alive and well, going out, going to missions, like side missions and stuff to progress the story along. So it's not just survival and continuing to survive. There's a story to it. But yeah, like I said, I don't think I've gotten far enough in this one to get a good feel of what the loop will be outside of just what State of Decay the original game was.
Okay. Well, I too have played something brand new this week, and it is a new title that just came out. It is called Grapple Dog, and this one expect a review incoming at some point. I've only made it through the first couple of levels, but you are a dog with a grappling hook. Grapple Dog. It plays very much like Sonic. Like, I get a lot of Sonic vibes from it, we'll just say.
So
Their
is that
music
because of
has
speed or
no. It's actually you can go fast, but it's actually kind of slow. Uh, the music I get a lot of Sonic vibes from. It's kind of got that. The first levels that I'm in, it's very Casino Nights like sounding to it. The level itself is Mario like in its shape and like atmosphere, but it sounds a lot like a Sonic. And actually, uh, thinking about how the way you collect different things in the game, it's very Sonic like. Also, instead of rings, you're collecting, I think, peaches. I'm
wait?
actually drawing a blank on what the little items are that pop out of things.
I was. Oh, you're a dog, right?
I am a dog.
And they're not like biscuits. Like
No, because I'll get to that. So
okay,
you collect these like little. I'm going to say they're peaches. They look like little fruits, but they're not your lives like you would with Sonic and rings. You actually do have a life bar, and life bar is in the shape of a paw, and you've got 4 phalanges. What do you call the little dog paw fingers?
oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Would
Well,
it
you
be?
got 4 of them.
I don't know. I guess you'd have to go with the definition of a phalange is.
There's a finger.
Truthfully, it's a finger. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily just a finger, but yeah, okay. I don't know. Call 'em
Well,
paws.
anyway, you get 4 lives. You get 4 little paws. So if you imagine the shape of dog paw, you got your big center and you got your 4 little fingers. Every time you take a hit, you lose a finger.
It would be like a
And
pad.
well, the whole thing's a paw pad, right?
Like, well, do they have individual pads? Like each finger has a pad.
Yes, but the main pad is also a pad.
That's true too. All right, ignore what I said.
Well, anyway, you get 4 lives, and the only way to regain your life is to collect dog biscuits. And the only way I've seen so far that you can collect a dog biscuit is by killing enemies or certain enemies. They'll spawn randomly, it seems, from enemies that you kill. So it has a slower movement than Sonic, slower even than like Mario. You start out walking slow, and the longer you hold the direction, then the faster your character gets.
Oh, it's like a
Y-
ramp up
Yeah,
acceleration kind of thing. Okay.
he never gets as fast as mm, either the hedgehog or the plumber. Uh, but when you use the grapple and grapple onto predetermined spots, you can't just grapple anything. It has to be these blue squares. The
Mm.
swinging mechanic is very fast and it has momentum. So you could swing back and forth and then use that to shoot you somewhere where you can't reach normally. You do go through the levels, and the object is to collect these little crystals, like purple crystals. There's 5 in each level that I've noticed so far. And at the end of the world, it's kind of set up in the same way that Super Mario World is, where you got 1-1, 1-2,
Okay.
And then you go to the next one. And it's kind of got an overworld map to it where you're on this boat and you have to, when you unlock a new world, you have to go to that world. You actually have to drive the boat over there.
Wait, does the dog drive the boat?
The dog does not drive the boat. The ostrich drives the boat. Oh, by the way, there's an ostrich.
What is this, Animal Crossing? Come on.
So let me get a little bit into the story. So you are a dog. I don't remember his name. And you're on this adventure team with an older ostrich lady and a younger cat. Now I'm drawn. I'm totally blanking on the lady. We'll just go with cat right now. I'm probably wrong, but it's just the three of you. You're on this island and you are trying to uncover, mysteries and things like that. Kind of Indiana Jones like, that same regard. They kind of give you a backstory into the world and how there's this great inventor created these 5 inventions or something, and something had happened. The inventions got scattered. He hid them, and then he disappeared. And this team of 3 are kind of doing an archaeological survey of the area, trying to learn more about these artifacts and the great inventor himself. So your dog is following the other 2. Things happen. He meets up with a floating little robo head, and they go and he gets the grappling hook and he finds a door, opens the door, and then things happen. So he eventually makes it out into like this river or something, kind of again Indiana Jones like, and escaping the Temple of Doom. Makes it out there. His friends find him, and now the world is kind of like about to go crazy, and things are going to go bad. So he's going to save the day. There's no voice acting. It is all done in like little, let's say, animalese, kind of like Animal Crossing. So your dog, he kind of sits there and barks and woofs.
Oh, so they don't try to like make it like, "Hello, my name's Woofer."
No.
Okay.
No.
That's good. That would be so annoying.
It is similar to how RPGs are, where you have a picture and your character's there, and then it has the text box underneath, and it switches between foreground and background whenever they're talking.
Oh, okay. So,
but it has that animalese type of, kind of a animal sound to it.
gotcha. Is this like, what's the art style of this? Like, is it
It is
2D platformer with like
it is
like
2D
cartoonish
platformer.
or?
It is cartoonish.
Okay, all right.
It is stylized. I can't really think of anything comparable. It is not flash gamey, so it doesn't have that style to it. But it's also not 8-bit.
Okay, so now I got to look this up to see what it looks like, because I don't know. I'm imagining like some sort of like 2D realistic
Mhm.
picture of a
No.
dog just
No.
swinging around on a grapple hook.
This is cartoon. This is very much cartoon. So with the slow speed and then the fast grapples, it's kind of a nice little contrast. I did find that I was getting timing off just a little bit on some of the jumps because of the way the jumps are. It's a little floaty. You have some air control when you jump, but I was finding that I was either overcorrecting or undercorrecting. So there was some struggle there trying to learn the ropes. But the game itself, so far, I'm having a pretty good time for what it is. A little platformer. I'm curious to see where it goes and everything. And like I said, I'm going to have my review eventually here, and you'll learn more about it and what I give the score. So far, very promising.
So yeah, I'm just watching the Grapple Dog announcement trailer, and it kind of just, I mean, yeah, it looks like a kind of newer version of a Super Mario. Like, it has that same kind of blocky feel without it being Mario. So it looks pretty nifty. I would say I might want to try that, even though I'm not a big Grapple fan. But what else have I been playing is a big another thing here. The same stuff that I've been playing before.
Mm-hmm.
We got Arceus, Shining Pearl, and GTA Online. I've got a few stories. I got one from Arceus about
Do tell.
Yes, so I've still not started my run of Arceus, but my wife has been playing
Right.
as we know. So I was playing GTA, trying to get a Akula or whatever that helicopter is, so that we can stealth a lot and not have to be killed all the time.
So a
And
stealth helicopter, yes.
yeah, oh yeah, and so I've been kind of grinding to get that, and then my wife had to take the kids to dance,
Mhm.
and she asked me, she goes, "All right, can you save this here real quick?" She had to go. She packed up the kids, headed out. I'm like, "Yep, no problem." So she left. She was gone for a few hours for dance. Comes back and she goes, "What happened?" I'm like, "What do you mean what happened?" She's like, "Why am I dead? Am I a lost satchel? Wait, I shouldn't be a lost satchel. Did you save?" I'm like, "Of course I'd say, I don't think I did."
Mm-mm.
And she's
You
like,
had one job.
right? She's like, "What? I asked you." I'm like, okay, well, mistakes have been made.
So
Luck-
how much progress did she lose?
Luckily, she saved before asking me to save. But she was there, standing there for a little bit, and she played around a little bit. So she didn't really lose anything aside from, like, I think collecting some berries and stuff.
Oh, that's good.
So luckily it wasn't bad. Because that could have been real bad.
Oh yeah, depending on where, that would have been a whole lot of stuff to redo.
I think she had just finished the Growlithe one. No. Yeah, I think it was like Growlithe or something like that. So, like, she saved right after that. And then I think she had, like, just gone around and collected some berries and some things like that in the world. So she hadn't really done anything major after that. So, like I said, she didn't lose a whole lot, but yeah, like you said, it definitely could have been a lot worse.
Well, I was playing a little more Arceus as well. Didn't make it too much farther. I was just kind of cleaning up some of the side stuff. So I'm nothing new to report other than I finally got an Eevee.
Ooh, just one?
Just one. Just a single Eevee. And I did the mysterious Ponyta one. So I got the special colored Ponyta.
That's where you get the shiny
The
Ponyta.
shiny Ponyta.
Yes. Well, Dez has, I think, an Umbreon now.
Oh.
Either an Umbreon or the fairy one.
Sylveon?
I can't remember now. Sylveon, yeah. So, like, you evolve Eevee when it had, during the day, I believe, when it has a fairy type move, and that it turns into a Sylveon.
Yeah, it's got some weird fairy condition that it has to do to be able to turn into Sylveon. And then Umbreon is the opposite. It has to be at night or something like that?
Yeah, Umbreon has to be at night. So I think I'm pretty sure I remember she was trying to get Umbreon, I believe. Oh no, she was trying to get the one that was the day one, I think. And then she evolved it, and it's like, wait, it turned into Sylveon. And then she's like, oh wait, I think it had a fairy move. Darn it. So, like, apparently the fairy move trumps the one before it or something. Like, it trumps because it's in the day or dark, whatever. It'll become Sylveon.
Okay.
So just when you're evolving, make sure if you don't want a Sylveon, change out any fairy moves.
Gotcha. I think I'm going with Jolteon or Vaporeon first.
Yes, OG baby. They're the best. But Flareon's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, for a fire type, it's pretty cool.
Right. It's
Better than some of the fire starters.
right. And honestly, that's one of those where it's like I could have been like, okay, I would have been okay with Flareon as a starter. Like he looks pretty cool and he's cuddly.
Yeah, it's got a big old poofy, flamey coat.
Yeah. Flareon's pretty cool. I like the evolution, like the different evolutions of Eevee. I kind of think they may have done too many, but then there are a few that I want more of. I don't know. Like
There
it
would
seems
be,
like pretty neat to have like a dragon Eevee.
yeah. I would like to eventually see them do an Eevee of every type. Just because.
Right. It doesn't really make sense in the lore to have an Eevee of every type because really, if you look at it, it's like kind of like the Eevees evolved due to like outside stimulus of like a stone, and there's not really a dragon stone.
No, but there are other like I mean, there's no fairy stone,
But
So I mean, there's other things that could influence uh, the evolution.
true, I guess. I don't know. It seems kind of outside of the story, but I'm sure they can make something up. But speaking of all these different Eevees, uh,
Hmm.
I'm getting back into the shiny hunt.
Oh, more shiny hunting.
Yes. So I beat the Elite Four. I beat
Huh?
Cynthia in Pokemon Shining Pearl, which that was actually wasn't that bad. Um, Cynthia kind of gave me a run for my money, but it wasn't as bad because I was way, way, way over leveled. I was like 80s and above. So like, they weren't that hard for me. So I
Well,
kind of cheated.
good. No. If you over level, I don't think that's cheating because you put the time in.
True. I mean, I did, but yeah, it was fairly easy for me. But after that, you beat it, and then you go to the boat, and then off to the other little island, wherever the battle arena is, right? So I did that little bit to get that little section of everything unlocked, and now I've gone back to Mount Coronet, and hey ho, here's Palkia Shiny Hunt back on.
Back on. Okay. So how many times have you done it this time?
So I got back to it, and I've done it probably about 4 or 5 hours, not a whole lot, um, because, I was kind of, disheartened to know that the shiny charm that I was talking about before, to get it,
Right.
you need to finish the national Pokédex.
Oh, okay.
So, it is an end game thing. On top of that, I'm looking online finding some people saying one thing, some people saying another. Apparently, it's maybe glitched where it only works for eggs, so hatching eggs, and it doesn't work for wild Pokemon, but it's supposed to. Other people are saying that, oh, they've changed it for these games. But whatever the case may be, it doesn't seem to be working currently for wild Pokemon. So updating or lowering
Oh.
the chance of or raising the chance of a shiny in a wild hunt only for eggs, which does not help me with Palkia.
No, it does not. So
So
you are back to square one.
yeah, I'm back to square one. At least I've finished that story, so I'm not holding my story up in that case. But I'll get back
Well,
into
good.
it. Uh, Probably after I finish so much of GTA, which I've been also
Right.
playing.
Yeah, as have I. I've been playing. Well, we've been playing together, but we've been playing a lot of GTA Online.
Probably more than I think I ever would if it wasn't for you and our cousin. If it was just
Right.
me, I would not be this into it.
Yeah. Well, it is definitely one of those where you you can play by yourself, but again, you have to just deal with the other people if you want to make money, good money, not just money, but actual profitable money.
Right. Well, money that can like you can get you stuff in a shorter amount of time instead of like spending 8 hours in a day, doing
Right. I
piddly
guess that's
stuff.
what I mean is like you can make money. You can make $10,000 at a time. Sure. That's making money. But I mean like worthwhile money. Again, profitable money.
Right.
Something that would be like, oh, I've made 100,000 in this play or this mission. That is more what I'm referencing because your heists and everything can get you something like that. And that'll go towards the expensive things like different businesses that you can buy or the different activities that you can do.
Or
So
helicopters.
or helicopters to be able to do some of those activities a little better.
Yes, and I've got the helicopter. I have the Akula. I think that's what it's called, the Akula. The stealth
So
helicopter.
what is that helicopter for obviously people who don't know, maybe me?
Okay, so the Akula, from what I know so far, what I've played with it, is it's a helicopter that has machine guns. You can outfit it with missiles and stuff, but you got to get like the weapons or something bay in the hangar to change it, to be able to change colors and stuff like that. But it initially comes with machine guns. But you can also hit the right on the D-pad to make it stealth, so that way it keeps your blip and anything inside of the helicopter, including cargo, off of the radar, the minimap.
Ooh.
So if someone drives under you or flies by you, they obviously can still see you, but there
Right,
will
they
be
can
no
physically see you.
right. Just like in the real world, you can see the airplane, but there will be no GPS blip on the radar to show. Now, the one thing I don't know is whether or not if like when you pick up cargo and then it says, okay, your thing is now broadcasting to
Right.
other players. It shows me on the minimap the broadcast, but it's me blinking. My arrow is blinking in the minimap. So I don't know if maybe I'm assuming it doesn't show anyone. It's broadcasting, but it's hiding the signal. But I don't really know specifically if is it actually not broadcasting that little blip on the minimap, or what. But it does say in the description that you and anything you're carrying or any people you're carrying is hidden from the map.
All right. I mean, it sounds very useful to have for especially some of those missions where you, like you said, you get spotted on the map when you're carrying
Business goods or whatever it's
cargo
called.
or business goods. Yes, that's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's irritated me the most about GTA. I have a story about a few days ago when I was playing it. I was, doing good. I actually didn't, single myself out in a lobby and all that stuff. I had a few people in the lobby. I was doing the money laundering missions perfectly fine. No one was bothering me. And then I get to one of them picking up a supplies, coming back right
Hmm.
before I get to my little money laundering place. I'm like literally getting ready to turn into it, and some dude kills me. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I will go over, pick it up. He kills me again. I'm like, seriously?
Ooh, not
Go
liking where
over.
this is going.
Yep. I go back over, get ready to pick it up. He's looking like he's staring right at it. He's not picking it up. He's just staring at the cargo. And obviously, they can pick it up and they can take it, right, for money.
Hmm.
He's not doing that. So he's trolling me. Very specifically, is griefing me to just aim at it and wait for me. So I go another time. He kills me, and I go, okay, I don't care about you anymore. And then did my little trick and soloed myself out, so I didn't have to deal with him anymore. But I'm
Right.
like, you're the reason. You, person, are the reason I hate this game.
Well, yeah. I mean, at least he wasn't modding.
He very well could have been. I couldn't see where he was. I just could see the rocket coming from an area.
Oh, okay. It's a rocket. I was thinking it was like a sniper shot or something.
Oh, no. He was blowing me up. He couldn't
Well,
leave that to chance.
I've got a story regarding some modders.
Ooh, do
So
tell.
me and our cousin, we were playing the other night, and we're doing some missions and everything, trying to do one of the heists where you can do two people on a heist and make some pretty good money. Uh, we were doing one of the setups, and then this guy just shows up, and he's obviously modding his car. He just brings in any car he wants, and he types in the text chat, "Hey, do you guys need a ride? I can help." We're like, okay. So we get in the car. He takes us to where we need to go. This car is literally flying. Like, he's using non-existent boost on this thing to get it to go where it needs to go. We get there. We do the things we need to go to the next mission. And this requires us to go out into the water, to the submarine that she has, our cousin. And he's taken this like APV, one of those army all-purpose vehicles with the
Oh
gun turret on
yeah.
it. And that thing is, again, just launching and flying. And we get to the water, and the thing is not a water vehicle, but it's driving like a water vehicle.
Yeah, of course.
So, needless to say, we were able to do a lot of those setup missions because he was modding. So, it made them a little easier. We were kind of antsy on if we should have him join us for the actual heist.
Oh
uh,
yeah.
but it turned out okay because he only asked for the minimum amount of share that you can do. So it was like 15% share,
Right.
and he just followed us. So it worked out.
Okay, so you had a modder that wasn't bad.
A very nice modder. Yeah, he wasn't there to just grieve people. He was there to help.
You found the 1%.
Right.
the nice modder, the one who's not a complete jerk.
Yep. And then he wanted to be our friend.
Oh, our cousin is very good at at making friends in GTA.
She is very good at acquiring new friends.
Yeah. I'm like that loner that someone comes up and talks to him, no, go away. I don't need you.
Oh
No.
yeah. Oh, I've not accepted his friend request. I don't. I'm probably sound really rude right now, but I don't like to do that.
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that. If I don't know you in real life, I don't know you online. That's just how I work.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the actual topic for today. So today's topic kind of relates around the release for the new Horizon Forbidden West. Some previews have come out and everything. Some of the reviews and such, saying that it's really good game, but it's also more of the same. And you're getting that typical, I wouldn't say backlash, but you're getting that typical conversation where you have half the people saying they want new experiences, and then you get another half saying they just want more of the same. So the question we propose today is, do new games need to always make changes? So what are your thoughts when it comes to games that need, sequels or just a next in the series? Do they have to innovate, or can they just keep running on their same laurels?
So I think, like with me, innovation is probably very different, in my opinion, than most other people
Okay.
or a lot of other people, especially gamers. So to me, innovation doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be a new function or a new gameplay mechanic. To me, innovation can be the same gameplay loop with the same mechanics in a different story, different location, a different setting, that kind of thing. That is, to me, that is a valuable change, because the setting does make a change to the story, and if you're telling a continuation of the same story, And especially if it's like, a game where mechanics like stealth are kind of key. You don't really want, in my opinion, to change those mechanics um too drastically, because then there's more of a learning curve that does the player really want to have. For me,
So
I don't want to have that learning curve all the time.
so my question for you then is, I think by the very nature, the word innovate is to increase. It is to you know, take what was given and make it new, make it fresh.
Add to.
Add to. Where I fall on the opposite side for what you're thinking, like a new story, new scenario, new location is not innovation, but iteration. It's the next step. It's the next thing. So like you could have a story A for the first game, and then story B is the second game. In that second game, it's the same game with no innovation. It's just a
The next
new
iteration.
location. Yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree. That makes 100% sense.
So like I kind of am in both camps when it comes to this, because there are things I like and I want them to keep doing those things. They can freshen them up just a little bit here and there with a new coat of paint or something, but when something works, it works. Well, especially for me. If it works for me, I'm going to keep playing it. And when there's a sequel for that game, I expect it to be the same, but I also expect something newish, I guess. There are some out there who would say it has to be totally different. Mechanics need to be changed and different outcomes have to happen from story arcs or something. Uh, Controls or different abilities need to change. I I I don't think I expect that when it comes to a new game. So we'll take Horizon here for example. From what I'm hearing, it's basically the same game, same equipment, not powers, but abilities and everything. It's just with a new location, prettier graphics, and some like fixes here and there. To me, if I enjoyed the first game, this sounds like something that would really tickle my fancy
Yeah,
because it's got all this stuff I enjoyed, but just kind of freshened up and fixed
updated. Yeah.
for, yeah. So when you're looking at a sequel to your favorite game and everything, something that you enjoyed, how many iterations would you say it would need to go before you would kind of get tired of it and you would need to see something new?
So here's where I'm going to shine in how monotonous or how monodroning or whatever you want to say, how to call it, I am. Um, I think it needs to come naturally, so it can be anywhere from the next game to 6 games. Um, I was always and have still kind of been a Madden fan. I've loved most every version of Madden, barring a few that it's like, okay, well, this just doesn't look like a good Madden game because fidelity wise or whatever. Um, I've
Hmm.
always been a big Madden fan. I've always been a big GT fan. Um, and these are two series or two genres that a lot of people in the gaming community give that um, not innovative sticker to, or oh, it's just the next one of these. It's all it is racing. It's the same thing. Well, how can you like the same thing every over and over? And for me, it's not the same thing, because I'm okay with having the same button layout. I'm okay with having the same tools and tricks and um, um, gameplay, because that's what I liked. I wanted more of that. I just finished the previous game already, right? With like Madden, there's not really a finish to, so you can continue playing that. But like GT,
Right.
there is a story mode. You can finish that, and you can go back and race and stuff like that, because it is a racing sim. But there is a roll credits on a lot of the GT games. But I just want more of that, and I want it to look better. Um, Honestly, there's something to be said about that, right? Like Call of Duty. I'm not a Call of Duty fan, but it is very
Yeah.
much people say the same thing in the gaming community about it's the same thing. It's Call of Duty, but with a new guns or new title, whatever, or it looks better. But I mean, the past few years, what game has been on the top of like the best sellers? It's been Call of Duties. It's been these sports games. It's been simulation race. Well, I don't know about GT, but like Madden and NBA, 2K, whatever, and Call of Duty. The reason they sell good is because they're familiar and people can get right into
Hmm.
it. I'm all
Yeah, I
for
agree with that.
innovation. Right. I'm all for innovation. You know, it's worth it. It's how you get new things. It's how you get new genres and how you get new IPs. But in my opinion, I don't want innovation just for the sake of innovation because people feel it's stale. Um, that's why I've actually fallen off of Assassin's Creed because I loved the first game. I loved how the first game played. I liked how the second game's fighting style, right? Or maybe it was a third, but the second and third, the one with Ezio, changed that fighting style a little bit. But as it's
Okay.
progressed, my stealth ability has gone down and down and down, and now it's just like a brawler.
Well, yeah, and that's just the Assassin's Creed's evolution so far is they've taken a lot of the stealth stuff out. They tried to bring a lot of that back with Valhalla, with middling success here and there, but uh, it is hard to be stealthy in those games
Yeah.
the way that you used to be able to be stealthy.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember playing older Assassin's Creed games where, like, I I would go through a whole camp and never raise a flag, right? And I've killed everyone, and then beat that camp or the tower or whatever, um, without ever having to have a battle. To me,
Hmm.
that was fun, not
Yeah. Oh,
charging in headlong.
yeah, doing origins that way,
Yeah.
taking out the little the camps. Brand new combat, but I was using your the darts and your arrows to
Yes.
pretty much pick off people, and then occasionally uh, take them out as quiet as I can.
Right. And
But
I think what's happened is that it's progressed, like you're saying, kind of a natural progression, but people were clamoring for innovation. Make it different. It's too much Assassin's Creed. It's just another Assassin's Creed. Give me
mhm,
something different. But when you start with me, when you start doing that, you start changing the game. And it becomes less fun because now what I liked about it is either muddled or pushed down or subdued or completely taken away. And it's no longer the
right.
game that I I like playing. So now it almost changes to a different genre of game that maybe I don't like.
Yeah, and I think another Ubisoft title is kind of falling into this the crosshairs of this, and that's the Far Cry series.
Right.
It has pretty much been the exact same game since 3, and if you're a fan of Far Cry, you kind of enjoy what they're presenting. But again, you run into people who say it needs to innovate, it needs to be different. You can't just keep running up towers and revealing the map. But there's a reason why they still do it because it works,
Right.
and for most people, that's good enough.
Right. Well, and to a lot of those people, when I have these kind of conversations that say it needs to innovate, I ask them why, and the majority of the time, the answer is progression. I can't play the same thing. I could just go back and play that other game, but the problem I have with that is I don't want to go back and play the other game when I on like a PS4 title when I have a PS5. I want PS5 graphics. I want Xbox um, Series X graphics. I want the better graphics and the more robust world and all this, all this other stuff. If I didn't if I wanted the older stuff, I wouldn't have bought this new console. I wouldn't powered up my computer. I wouldn't have put a better video card in there. Innovation with like new mechanics and stuff, in my opinion, isn't the necessity there. Um,
Hmm.
because that's not what shows the power of what you've purchased, your console or your new graphics card or a processor. That mechanic isn't changed. You could put that mechanic in an older game, just update the older game with that mechanic, right? Why even put
Yeah.
out a new game?
Well, take a look at oh, what's a good example here? Like Resident Evil. So you had 5 and 6, which were very, very um action heavy. And 5 was kind of, people were like, it was okay. And it's pretty fun. 6 people did not like. Then you jump into 7 and 8, which are total, like totally different games. But what I'm looking at here is your RE2 and 3 remakes. They kind of go back and do those original games justice. And they play and feel like how they should
Right.
versus the action heavy 5 and 6.
It's that like back to roots, right? What made this game or this series what made it popular or what caught with people. And as these series gets longer in the tooth, like things like Assassin's Creed or Far Cry, um, people want the community wants something different. Um, and I almost wonder if it's more because that's what socially is being told to them, is that you must make
Hmm.
it different, you must make it innovative. But is it really what people want? I mean, like I said, you look at the top
Right.
selling games, they're the repetitive, monotonous, same, you know, the same game over and over. It's just a different roster, but they sell.
Yeah. Well, and I guess counterpoint to that, again, take Resident Evil, for example. They go from this third person action game, they go from this third person static camera game to where 7 and 8 are first person. And it's a totally different aesthetic, and it is innovation in its genre, because it is first person horror with that Resident Evil flair to it. And I've not played them, but you can look at reviews, you can look at sales and everything. They're really good,
Right.
and it is, along with Monster Hunter, it is the reason Capcom has probably
Stayed
stayed
afloat.
away from being, from being sold off to anybody,
Right.
is because they took a chance, and it worked.
Right. Well, and so I mean, like things like Destiny 2, right? That thing is essentially the same game, mechanically, but they have
Hmm.
added a lot of stuff to it. Um, like that changes the game, like the supers and like how you do the supers. And then like, they're nerfing things and boosting things all the time. So that tells me kind of like, do new games always need to make changes? Maybe even a better question of, do we always need a new game to make some of these changes? Some of these
No, I think that's
innovative
a
changes, do we need a new title?
I think that's a good point. Do do you actually need a brand new release, or can you just get by with, quote unquote, a roster update?
Right. Can you say, okay, the graphical fidelity of this Madden game is still very much on par with the system, right? We're not we're not at a point where we can make this game look better because one, we don't have the programming or whatever. We just haven't gotten to that with the console. So iteratively, let's just make a roster update and maybe add some other little teeny things here and there of like better crowds or whatever like can be added. But it doesn't necessarily need a whole new version of Madden, a whole new version of that game. Um, but obviously that's that like is the studio is the studio going to say, yeah, we're not going to put out another game to possibly boost these sales. We're just going to keep the same one and update it. Like, where's
Y-
the
And
money to that?
I think that is the struggle that they would find with investors and higher ups is what do you mean we're not putting out another title? We're that doesn't make sense to us. Just sell another $60 title.
Right. Right.
When they could, like we'll take Madden for example. They could literally put out a 2023 roster update and just patch in any updates to the roster, any updates to graphics, like team graphics, mascots, colors, coaches, whatever. And they could do the update, or they could probably even get away with selling an update without having to release a new game.
I was going to say, honestly, they being EA, but they could certainly have like the next Madden be Madden Infinite, right? And and just do a 5-year lifespan Madden because it is the beginning of this console series and there's still so much overhead that you can do on these consoles that they haven't tapped into yet, power wise,
Mhm.
horsepower wise. They could certainly pull a Destiny or a live service and make Madden a live service and make the NBA games a live service. And it's just roster updates with extra things added, like you said, you know, uh, logos changed, colors changes. If you've got like, I know the NBA game, the 2K games had like, the lifestyle, like your crib, change up your crib, add this stuff to
Yeah.
your crib. You could do that kind of stuff and add in like, hey, here's a new house for you to buy, or here's a new, here's you can add a new couch or whatever, just a bunch of these like little teeny things to make it a little different, but keep people invested, right? And do the same thing, things like Destiny and a lot of these live service games are doing. That's, I think, where those games should live. They don't need another iteration of the game. They don't need a new, you know, Madden 2022 or 2023. They
Yeah.
can just
A
update.
yearly release or something.
Right.
Yeah, and I think what would be beneficial is doing that method, just having a small team work on just keeping the game running and adding the updated content, but having the main team working on new features.
Right.
And when they get enough in there that it's different, yeah, then pop out a new release and just I guess make sure it works with all the other stuff.
Right. You could
But
do like every
you
5
know,
years instead of every year or every 6 years, just follow like the
yeah.
console lives, right?
Well, probably a little sooner than that because console generations have been getting progressively longer and longer.
Right, what I mean, like,
Uh,
follow the console life, I mean, like, it's not a 10-year Madden game. Like, like a 5-year, you have 2 Madden
right.
games per console or maybe even 3 instead of, you know, what, 10,
Well, yeah,
11.
because and again, that gives the studio time to actually work on fixing things that may have been present in the original release, and then adding things that are worthwhile.
Right, innovation, not just for innovation's sake, but innovation to make the game and the overall experience better. Give me something useful for that innovation instead of just being
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, we added the truck stick because, hey, why
I,
not?"
I was
You're
exactly.
thinking the same
I
thing.
was I was thinking the same thing. You don't base your whole release around pressing the stick up,
I mean, and that's the thing is
getting that
Madden's
truck stick out there.
yeah, Madden's been like that key game that does that kind of stuff because they're making a new iteration, new release of it, and then a lot of the consumer base is like, we need something innovative, so they've got to find something to innovate. So now they've gone, they got to a point a long time ago where it's like, let's change how they tackle maybe, or but you
Mhm.
only get a year to do that.
Yeah, and so it makes it really hard.
Yeah, how do you
Uh,
innovate yearly all the time and not everyone, most people be happy with it and make it a game that's cohesive and workable?
right.
That's what's happened with a lot of I think it's what happened with a lot of, like, sports games, Madden, and even some other iterative games that have, like,
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed and things like that, that aren't, a yearly roster update.
Well, and you take Madden for its example. It doesn't have any competition, so it doesn't even have that going against it
Yeah,
to be able to say like, "Hey, these other guys are doing this. Why don't we try to do this to make ours that much better?" So, like, you got your yearly Call of Duties and Battlefields, but they have one another to bounce off to be like, well, they're doing this. Why don't we do that? Well, they're doing this. Why don't we do that? So they can do some innovation and try to stand out from the crowd, but still be the same thing that they're always at.
right. Then, yeah, that is the whole non-competitive no competition thing for Madden. That's a whole 'nother can of worms, I
Oh,
think, because
yeah.
it's just you can't innovate without competition. You can't innovate because you're inside your box. You're gonna stay inside that box. It's hard to think outside the
Right.
box, especially if it works.
And it's one of those why even fix something?
Right.
Because then that just goes against exactly what we're talking about here today, both sides. Uh, for the sides that want to keep things the same, well, why even fix it if you're just going to buy it again anyway? Because
Right.
we're the only game in town. And then the other one's like, why even change anything? Because you're going to buy it anyway.
Right. It's a double-edged sword for the consumer. Not then that's the key here. It's a double-edged sword for the consumer, not for EA. You know, People are gonna buy it. That's the key. People will buy it, and EA's like, we'll keep pushing it out and make small changes to it because people will gobble it up. Which that's fine. People want a sports game, a football game. They like football. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and it's kind of like I was listening to a podcast and the person was talking about a hunting game, Call of the Wild, which I got.
Okay.
I played a little bit of, and she's just like, I don't get it. Like, if if you like hunting, then just go out and hunt. Like, why don't you just
Well, that's not the
do it?
point. I've never liked that
Me
argument for
either.
anything.
Well, and it was funny because on that same podcast, the guy, one of the other people on there was like, "Well, you like racing games? Why don't you just go out and drive?" And she's like, "What? That's different. Like, I can't drive as fast. Like, I'm driving super fast. I can't do that in the real life." And he goes, "Well,
You can. You go to a
yeah,
racetrack.
you can actually,
There are track
right?"
days.
And the guy, he's like, "Well, I mean, you can't shoot 10 bear and take them back. Like, it's kind of the same
Yeah.
premise."
It's an escapist, uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Escapism from reality. To be able to do something that you would like to be able to uh, do, but in a space that's safe to do so.
Right. I mean, that's what GTA is built off, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, then you kind of get into weird things there. It's like, wait, what? Do you want to be a criminal? Is that what you're saying? No, no, that's not what I'm saying. You just want to be able to, play cops and
Right.
robbers type of thing.
Do what I can't do in real
And
life. Or like
yeah.
with me, sports games, I've always felt is do what I no longer can do. Like I used to play football all the time.
Oh
I
yeah.
used to play basketball all the
For
time.
a lot of people, that's what it
Right.
is.
It's being able to be at a high level that I can't do anymore. I can't be that anymore. But it still gives you that satisfaction of being able to do that. It's like you said, escapism. It's
Hmm.
a fantasy.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think it's time to escape from this discussion.
Hello.
You like that? You like that?
Sure. We'll go with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. If you enjoyed this conversation and are looking for more, give the guys over at Quick Save a listen for their additional in-depth discussions. Also, be sure to visit savingcontent.com for the latest news and reviews. If you have questions, topics, or want to correct us on something, I know we don't get a lot wrong, but if you think we do, let us know. Send us an email. Yeah, see, it got us an email now. Thank you, Scott, for getting that set up. You can reach us at dotEXE at savingcontent.com. Or if you want to do the old social media way, you can post over on Twitter and Facebook at savingcontent. Also, Take a minute and subscribe to the dotEXE podcast if you haven't already. And why not go and subscribe to the Saving Content YouTube channel as well? We have our podcast posts up there. So if you want to see some of the original content we do there with our videos, game previews and reviews, or just subscribe to this podcast there, you can do so. Finally, if you like the show, give us a rating, review us. You can do it right in your podcast app. Oh, and be sure to tell your friends about dotEXE. It'll help us grow, and I know, speaking for both of us here, we'd really appreciate it. So thank you guys for listening, and remember, kindness costs us nothing, but it means everything. Good night.